Laurie Corbelli served as Aggie Volleyball's head coach from 1993 to 2017, amassing 519 wins, the most in school history. She was named Conference Coach of the Year 6 times and was inducted into the American Volleyball Coaches Association Hall of Fame in 2019. Corbelli and the Aggies made the NCAA tournament in 20 of her 25 seasons, reaching the Sweet 16 6 times and the Elite 8 in 1999 and 2001. In addition to her duties at Texas A&M, Corbelli earned the honor of serving as USA Volleyball's head coach for the junior national team in 2015 and 16, claiming a silver medal. As a player, she won a silver medal at the 1984 Olympic Games in Los Angeles. A fabulous representative, Aggie Volleyball, takes her place in the Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, Laurie Corbelli.
Howdy. God, I hadn't said that in a long time. To a big group, anyway. Okay, I gotta put on my glasses now that I'm a grandma. Well, I guess I'd just start. This is my first time back actually in a building at Texas A&M for about, I don't know, other than Reed Arena, for about 7 years. And to see the faces and the people and Maroon Club from going back in the 90s and to early 2000s, and these coaches that are here and athletes. I got to watch Bria and all the athletes that have come up. I've gotten to see them compete. And I'm just really, really honored. I was actually really stunned that a coach, I always thought it was just athletes that were going into the Hall of Fame. So to get the phone call that I was going to be inducted was not only surprising, but it was just such a wonderful feeling. In 1993, I got a phone call. I was coaching at Santa Clara University, and I was a pretty young coach. I never have been an assistant. I had only played for a USA team for 7 years, and I played at Texas Lutheran. And we won 2 national titles there. So I was young as a coach, and I got a phone call from Lynn Hickey to gauge my interest in Texas A&M volleyball. And I was in a small West Coast conference, and my husband was coaching at San Jose State, which was 3 miles away. And so we were going head to head. That wasn't fun. And his team always beat mine. And I like to say because San Jose State had already done about, I don't know, I think they had 10 or 12 scholarships, full scholarships for their women's volleyball players. And when I was coaching at Santa Clara, I had 4 full scholarships to divide upon 12 players. So of course that was the reason. And so we said to Lynn, I said, yeah, we would love to come out. My mom was turning 60 years old. My mom is here tonight. She's 91. She's a Longhorn. And we got the call to come and see if we would be interested in a visit, and we made a visit. Well, obviously my folks are from Austin, and so when we did go visit, my dad was a Lutheran pastor in Dallas, and mom was a musician, a music teacher. She's a performer. She started 2 of her own businesses. Wonderful example for all 4 of her daughters. You have to have this haircut to sit at our table. But gosh, I can go off on a tangent. Right, players? Anyway, so we get out here, and I had been here one time and played in DeWare. There was a pink building that was a gym on y'all's campus named DeWare, for those of you that have been here for 40 or 50 years. It was not very pretty, and it did not have air conditioning. So I played with Texas Lutheran, and we came for a match, and we had to play in DeWare Fieldhouse. I think when we left, they tore it down. But anyway, so I came to campus, And I really didn't know what to expect, but I thought, this would be a huge jump for me in my career. I was at a school with 7,000 students, and it was absolutely gorgeous, of course, in Northern California. I had a sister out in Northern California, was enjoying her kids, who are now 39 and 36, and they came from California tonight. Marty and Erica. And so walking around campus, I was like, everything was maroon. The carpet, the walls, the t-shirts on every single person, all these students, and that was with 35,000 students. That was all. Now we're what, at 100, 80, lots. But they all had on maroon, and I remember going from Century Tree to the Pavilion to G. Raleigh White, good old G. Raleigh White, and all the, just all over campus. And it starts to drizzle. So Lynn says, let's do the indoor, we used to have this video of the campus and different, the traditions and videos of football and basketball and swimmers and all the sports, and they still do it in the visitor center, but this was one of the early ones, and I thought I was in the biggest theater in the world, because it was like 4 or 5, half of that dome. I don't know how many of y'all remember that, but it was so cool. I thought, oh wow, they are so advanced. And Lynn Hickey had a cell phone. It was about this big. And I was like, wow, I could have a cell phone. So cool. So we go inside because it's drizzling. And, you hear the war hymn. And then you see, Caulfield and the 12th Man and these flags and a dog and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. And so we get back outside, and everyone's walking, and now there are all umbrellas. It's all maroon umbrellas with 3 big white letters on all of them. I was like, wow, this is pretty amazing. I loved the loyalty. I loved the spirit. The friendliness, like people really did say howdy to me, at every corner. And I thought, no, I'll use that in recruiting, but do they really do that? And they did. They did on that visit. So I knew that was, if I could just score, good points in my interview, that this would be a place I would want to raise my family. One of the hardest parts of it was for John and I, my husband and I, because we were coaching against each other, and we figured we can't keep doing this. But we both wanted to be coaches at this level. And we needed a program that could really support us and really give us the funding and the background, the financial wherewithal to have great success. My husband was on the USA men's team when we met, shocker. We met in Colorado Springs at the Olympic Training Center. And when he started coaching, and I started coaching in different schools, we knew that someday if we wanted a family, we better get it together and get on the same team so that we can organize who's watching the kids this week, and who, the weekends you're gone. You're gone all day in the practice gyms. You're the life of a coach. And we knew we wanted kids. So we made the move. We had to sit down and decide, is this what we want to do? Is Aggie Land our place? And we came to the determination that it certainly was. So thank you, Lynn Hickey, for reaching out to me and introducing this whole world to me. It was a whole new world, and I'm very grateful. And as I thank mentors, mostly I would say Lynn Hickey. She was a coach at the time, then she became an administrator. Then now she's still working. I mean, God, she retired for I think a year or two, but now she's working again, I read. And so congrats, Lynn. But I also wanted to say Lynn's staff. I have so many people that were on her staff, from Mike Caruso, which everybody knows, and the administrative staff of Penny King and compliance and everybody. I think a lot of them were my confidants in a lot of ways. I could go into their office and just have a few tears or get some advice, or find out what one of the traditions really means. And it was always getting great support. The athletic director that hired us was John David Crow, and I got to meet him for about 3 minutes. It was cool. And he said to me, "Laurie, we'd like to have you here, but can you promise you're only going to get Texas girls?" And I said, "Oh, I can't really promise that, John David, Mr. Crow, sorry." Although everybody likes to call him John David. I think it's such a cool name. But I said, I can't promise it because I want to get the best athletes I can find from anywhere, wherever they happen to be, for this program. And I guess he was okay with it, I don't know. But he nodded, and I'm here. I mean, I got to come here. So he also helped Lynn in hiring me. The staff that we had when you worked together for 25 years, John and I worked together 25 years, obviously, but we had a sports information director, Debbie Dara, that was with us at every single game. And she knows the program better than anyone ever. And she still supports the volleyball program, even though she's retired, but she's the one that helped me figure out all of this, working out all of this, the Hall of Fame stuff, and all kinds of stuff still. We have student trainers, the great Fightin' Texas Aggie Video Lab was amazing for us, all of my directors of operations, just so many people that without their expertise, we had to lean on them for so many things. I know some of my players, a lot of my players are here, and it just it feels like my retirement party, but anyway, I didn't have one, so this is it. Dr. Joe Townsend, I don't know how many of you knew Dr. Joe, but that man was an amazing confidant and just someone to talk to and to help out, especially for my student athletes. My players loved that guy. And I just really wanted to make sure he got a mention. And Dr. Bramhall, he was one that gave our team such great concern and such care. And not only the athletes, but the coaches when we were hurting or when we were anything. I mean, when you coach volleyball, sometimes you're out there hitting balls at players, not at players, okay. Hitting balls to players to dig. But all of these people were essential for our success. The other coaches in Aggie Land, gosh, I saw so many tonight I haven't seen in a long time. And I've already told them all. I may not get to say everybody's name, but thank you for just giving me support. And I loved watching coaches coach. I think it's so important to see how they handle all kinds of situations. And I learned so much from all of them, and especially the ones that were mentioned that were retired because we're kind of the same age. And so they're here, and it's just so cool to see all of you. There is one story I love to tell, though, because back in the day before every sport had their own facility, we were all in Coldus Building. We were all in the same hallway almost. I mean, I could go look around the corner and see R.C. Slocum. I was like, wow, this is cool. The winningest football coach in the history of Texas A&M. And I just love Coach Slocum. I always loved him. And like at noon, you'd start to get hungry, and then you'd hear people coming down the hallway, and you're like, oh, all the coaches down the other end of the hall, football, basketball, golf, track. I mean, everybody would start walking at noon. I mean, we live in Texas, right? You eat breakfast at 8 or 7, lunch at 12, dinner at 6. That's how I was raised anyway. And I thought, okay, staff, why don't we get up and just get out and walk to Kane Hall and let's have a meal with all the coaches. And I loved that because the camaraderie you were able to really build with the camaraderie, just some friendships and some bonds. And one time I was walking and I kind of worked my way up the crowd and got to stand by Coach Slocum, which I was like, whoa, my God, this is so cool. And He said, well, I'm not going to try to do his talk. I know a lot of people can do Coach Slocum's voice, but I'm not even going to try it. But it's so cool. It's so cute. And actually, he was in Orange, Texas, at Orange Stark High School. My dad and mom raised us four in Orange, Texas. In that year, we were there for 4 years, 5 years in Orange, I think. And we lived 2 blocks away from him, so we're old friends. But I was walking next to him, and we had a match the night before that we won. And I said, hey, Coach, and he goes, hey, congratulations, Laurie. And I said, thank you, but I was really not that pleased. I mean, we've been working on this, and I just start basically complaining. I was thinking my team should have played a lot better. We did get the win. But as a coach, you're constantly like, come on, God, you know what we're doing in practice, and I didn't see it that night. And he kind of stopped, and he goes, Laurie, winning is hard. You have to appreciate every single win because it takes a lot for the magic to happen. It takes a lot to get a win. So many things have to fall into place. And I would never forget that. And I remember I coached another 20 years after that, and it made a big moment for me in my coaching career. So thank you, Coach Slocum. I'm going last, so I can go as long as I want. And my players know I love to talk. So, I have some former assistants that are also here, but since John and I took up the so-called top 2 jobs, we were assistant or head coach and associate head coach. We had some assistants, but only 6. Jen Pyle, Jenny Wood, who's now head coach at Rice, amazing coaches. They're all went on to, most of them continued coaching. One, Robin Romansky, stayed here in town and got married and decided to have 6 children. So I have 6 nieces and nephews, I kind of call them. They call me Aunt Laurie, and they're here tonight, and they're just wonderful, wonderful people and children, and it's just, I love having them in this community. So thanks for coming tonight, guys. Okay, where am I? I don't want to miss anything, because it's really, really good. Okay, and to the coaches, thanks for being on my side when John and I disagreed, all that stuff. Thank you for just being right there for the whole time. They made me laugh. They made me really enjoy the coaching, the hard parts of coaching. We all know that the game is about players. And I have a whole lot of players here tonight. I think there's Jenna, just tell me how many. 25, I don't know. And there are 5 that you got to see walk in as Hall of Fame honors, inductees from the past, and there are a few that couldn't come. But they also kind of are coming for their own reunion because they love to get together and be together and have some fun that they've done without me today. But here's my sentence for them, my paragraph for them. The main reason I love coaching is because of the players who go through all the ups and downs and wins and losses and hard practices and killer weight room workouts and start over and only occasional shuttle runs and Laurie's loud, overly demanding voice and John's calm, calculating voice. Thank you for all your years of blood, sweat, and tears. I wasn't an easy coach, demanding punctuality, consistent class attendance, and 100% effort every single day in the classroom and in the gym. And by God, you better show how much you loved it. And if you listen to their exaggerated stories of lectures, practices, you'd wonder what the heck I'm doing up here of all places. They love to exaggerate. One of the greatest joys of my life has been loving my players even when they didn't love me back. I really love you guys. My heroes, they weren't my coaches. In 1980, there was a group of women that decided, let's try to go, 1978, let's try to get a women's USA team to the Olympic Games in Moscow. And at that point, USA teams didn't even rank in the top 10 in the world. So there were two coaches that got a junior team together and a national team together and said, we're gonna do this. We're gonna get a team that qualifies to go to Moscow. And I got invited to come in and kind of try out. Two people got invited to join these teams that they merged. Rita Crockett from the University of Houston and Laurie Corbelli from Texas Lutheran. So we went to California, we trained for about 2 months, and we found out that the Olympic Training Center was gonna invite us to be in-house, and it was an old barracks. It's the same place it is now, if any of you have visited Colorado Springs, but it doesn't look like it does. It didn't look like it does now. It was officers' barracks. Anyway, we trained about 8 hours every day. We didn't get paid a penny. We ate at sometimes an elementary school cafeteria that was next door to the training center because our cafeteria hadn't been built yet, the new one. We trained for those 2 years, 78, 79, and then we get word that President Carter is not gonna let a USA team go, maybe. So anyway, they kept saying we might send the team. So we kept training and training and training and hoping to get to go in July to Moscow. And in April, we were told, you're not going. And those women, 7 of them were already, I was young on the team, so I decided to stay 4 more years for 84. I didn't think we would boycott Los Angeles. You never know. But those women are my heroes. They showed me, they held me to the highest standard I could ever imagine. They were so phenomenal in their commitment. They had already been doing that for a couple of years. My mom, I've already talked about, she thought she was Gloria Steinem in the 70s. She wanted women, we are strong, we are gonna, and she started her own businesses in the 70s. And an amazing professional musician and a performer in Dallas. She had a little company called Here's Harriet. Isn't that a great name for your 91-year-old mom, Harriet? Love it. She is one of the most beautiful women. And she raised 4 daughters. And we're all here. They're all here tonight with their significant others, husbands and boyfriends. And you guys, I keep trying to think of what story I could share that maybe tells how competitive we were. I followed, 2 of them played college with me, or we all played together. There's 4 girls within 5 years, so Mom didn't know who she was calling for. And it's Lindley, Laurie, and Leslie. So Dad would say, I raised a lot of L around here. It's really corny. But they were always there for me. They got all my phone calls. No cell phones in those days when I was playing and training, but they've always been the ones that I want to make most proud. So thanks for coming tonight, guys. Some from California, others from the Dallas and Austin areas. And then my kids. I have 2 kids, Rachel. We have 2 kids, Rachel and Russell, and my husband, John. If you ever saw Aggie volleyball in 1993 to 2017, you didn't just see Laurie. You saw John doing his craft. John's gone on to win all kinds of awards in the things he's done since A&M, because when we came to the job, I said, if we do some really good things, the recognition goes to the head coach. And that's gotta be okay with you. That's fine. I just wanna be in the gym. I just wanna run volleyball practices. I wanna win volleyball games with you. And so let's go. And I obviously would not be up here without John. And So thank you, John, for your patience with me, for yelling at me when I needed to call a timeout. No, I'm kidding. For all the just amazing things that you should be standing up here with me is the truth. Our kids, it's not easy being a coach's kid, and they put up with a lot. We had hired the Wasserman family. He was a Letterman. He played for Bear Bryant, Lloyd Wasserman, and he was the principal at the high school. His wife, they answered an ad and said, I need help. I need someone to help with the kids when we're coaching together. And they interviewed, I had them come over, and I begged them, will you please do it? She put Russell to sleep. He's sitting over there at 30 years old now. And I thought, please help us with this, please. And they did. So we would not have been able to do this without Mimi and Papa, Betty and Lloyd Wasserman. But I remember Rachel being very upset when we lost. She's probably the most competitive in our whole family. And I would come home from a loss, and she would be sobbing in her room. And even at midnight, I could hear her not happy. And then the next morning, we'd get grilled on what the heck went wrong. But the kids are both coaching now. I guess we did something that impacted them, because one's at Auburn. Our daughter Rachel is at Auburn, and actually coaching under a head coach who is an Aggie. And our son Russell is coaching at Vanderbilt, who did not have a volleyball team, and they now have a volleyball team, and he is on the staff that is starting that program. And so we are so thrilled and so excited to still have volleyball in our family, and now guess what our grandsons are doing? No, I'm just kidding. But it has just been such an honor to get to share my sentiments, the people that have meant so much to me throughout my whole volleyball career. And thank you to the Lettermen's Association, congrats to the other inductees on your amazing accomplishments. It's very inspiring. And man, I've talked a long time, but I just want to say thank you so much. This means a lot. Thanks and gig 'em.